talent that comes around once in a lifetime.
Messi's genius.
He is Superman. He's won everything that the club game has to offer. From his humble beginnings to his emergence as a child prodigy in Argentina, we examine what makes this special player tick. Messi! We get the opinions from those who have been the best.
And those who have won. And at the moment, Messi is the best.
To those who share the same pitch with him.
Yo comparo con un asesino a los extraterrestres de una generación.
Para mí, el mejor futbolista del mundo.
And we get answers to the ultimate question.
Who's the best player of your time?
Lionel Messi.
Rosario, Argentina, the birthplace of Lionel Messi. At 4 years of age, it was already clear that there was something special about little Leo.
Me recuerdo de chico, ¿no? Ya de chiquito siempre empecé a jugar fútbol en la calle, en mi casa, y para los 4 o 5 años ya había empezado. El primer equipo fue en Grandoli, un club de barrio, y bueno, recuerdo muy lindo porque era donde íbamos toda la familia, donde pasábamos los fines de semana ahí. La verdad que fueron lindos momentos.
He was really, really small, but he stood out so quickly that Grandoli, where his father, Jorge, occasionally coached, picked up with him. And despite the fact that Messi was very, very young, it was clear at Grandoli that he was made for better things.
After a few years, when it was obvious that he was only going to go so far, coached by Dad, they knew as old boys, the big local team from Rosario, took an interest.
Even then, his ability to beat a man to do an arc of things was notable.
It was quite obvious that he was a special talent and he was somebody who the other clubs were looking out for.
And that was the point at which River Plate, one of the two biggest clubs in Buenos Aires, saw him and decided that this was the guy they wanted to take. And just when his career was blossoming in Buenos Aires, this growth hormone deficit, which was never going to stop him growing to his current height, but was going to slow that process dramatically, that became identified. And initially the club was willing to pay it, but Newell's couldn't afford it, River Plate weren't interested in affording it, and the Messi family certainly couldn't. After a very short burst of paying for these injections to help his growth, his natural growth, it was patently clear that there was a problem and nobody could solve it.
Charlie Rectouch had both played for and managed Barcelona. At the time, he was technical director and, through Barca's scouting system, was already aware of Messi's predicament, more importantly, his prodigious talent.
He'd heard about Messi. I mean, many scouts had that through the network, checked him out and said, he's still a way we can bring him to Europe.
That was a brave decision. Normally they say if the kids can make a professional football or not at 11, 12-year-old. Reshak and his colleagues had a good day.
Bueno, yo llegué, jugaba en Newell y bueno, me vieron allá y me trajeron a hacer una prueba de 15 días. Tuve 15 días aquí probando y me volví para Argentina.
Lionel needed little more than 15 minutes to make an impression, however.
Siempre tenía el balón él, en aquel momento no se le pasaba a nadie, la cogía, regateaba 1, 2, 3, 4, después la perdía o la pasaba, pero un jugador diferente, un jugador que tiene una habilidad fuera de lo normal.
The extraordinary story was that while Barcelona couldn't make up their mind about this extraordinary kid because he was so small, Jorge Messi, the father, was pretty much at the end of his patience. And he said to Charlie Rectouch, we're going to go home unless you've got something of good faith.
Entonces el padre dijo, bueno, mira, yo ya estoy harto de ir al club, o me arregla esto o yo me voy, porque a mí no me torean más, ¿no? Y entonces cuando yo pues busco un papel para decirle, oye, sé tranquilo que yo como director técnico le aseguro que ese chico firmará, y para que esté tranquilo, yo que soy el director técnico le firmo un papel Y entonces no había papel y lo típico, bueno, pues ¿qué hay? Y entonces había una servilleta, que es esa famosa servilleta que yo pensaba que había desaparecido después del primer contrato. Es cuando yo escribí que como director técnico me comprometí a firmar a aquel jugador y pam, y bueno, para que el padre estuviera un poco más tranquilo, la familia.
Armed with his now famous napkin, Rexach would keep his word and Barcelona would sign Messi. The club financially supported Leo's growth hormone treatments. The Messis moved to Catalonia for Leo to begin life at La Masia, Barcelona's now famous youth academy. And Barca legend Johan Cruyff was the brains behind their youth system in which Lionel Messi and many others before him would eventually flourish.
The main thing was that everybody in Spain thought that when you were small or thin, you couldn't play. And we said, hey, that's not so.
Benvinguts a la masia del Futbol Club Barcelona. D'aquí és on han sortit jugadors com en Cesc Fàbregas, com en Leo Messi, i el seu gran somni de tots els jugadors que formen part de la masia del Futbol Club Barcelona és arribar algun dia a jugar aquí dins, al nou camp i sobretot amb el Futbol Club Barcelona.
Johan Cruyff is credited with bringing the Ajax youth development philosophy to Barcelona during his 8-year spell as their manager, and Cruyff's legacy lives on in the form of La Masia.
The great bonus that Leo Messi inherited from Johan Cruyff without ever having met him or knowing him was that when Cruyff arrived at this club in 1988, he utterly reshaped football base, which is the word for youth development football. La Masia is the place where the kids come from far away to stay, but the youth development system was taught that every age group plays with the same concept, based on technique, based on touch, skill and vision above height and power.
He obviously came as a player, and afterwards he was a manager. And his whole ideas were also the ideas of Rinus Michels, the idea of total football.
The Dutch mentality is always go there and try it. And if it miss or you make a mistake, learn from the mistake. When you're smaller thin, you're going to develop a lot of things, which a big one never can develop.
Desde el estilo de Cruyff que implantó aquí hace años, pues han salido futbolistas más técnicos que físicos, ¿no?
That is basically the idea that Cruyff sort of put on as his sort of trademark on Barcelona, and Guardiola was obviously one of his younger stars when they won the European Cup for the first time at Wembley. And you can still see the Cruyff influence.
With Rijkaard extending that with the vision, then of course Pep, the same philosophy, attacking football, pressing early, and always with an idea, football with an idea, playing with your brains.
Pero sí que es verdad que Messi en el Barça yo creo que ha aprendido mucho, aparte de todo el talento que tiene. No sé si fuera del Barça Messi hubiera sido lo que es ahora Messi.
The blueprint that Barcelona have is something that everybody is trying to copy, and it's been a great nurturing process for him as a talent.
Still to come.
Instantly it was clear that they were dealing with a phenomenon.
Whoever they're bringing on now is not as good as this guy. I don't care who's coming on, he's not as good as him. To see how similar the two incidents are is remarkable.
Once in Spain, a young Messi struggled to adapt to his new way of life at La Masia.
Not much footage exists of him at his very, very earliest days here. But instantly it was clear that they were dealing with a phenomenon. You can see this very skinny boy who's got immense skills and a clear eye for the game too, but whose stamina isn't great. Not because he wasn't fit, but because the growth hormone process, number one, the lack of normal growth, and number two, the process of his body changing with the injections, left him unable to do his full repertoire during 90 minutes.
Y me falta resistencia, velocidad, sí, me canso de vez en cuando.
So you could see bursts of Leo Messi in the early days, but as his physical development and his stamina changed, the gifts, the vision, the brilliance, the explosiveness were already there, just waiting to be completely unrolled.
Marcaron 5 goles, pero estoy marcando mal.
although expressing himself on the pitch wasn't a problem, Messi was finding it hard to integrate.
Sí, porque cuando vino con 14 años pensaba que era mudo, ¿eh? Pero la verdad es que ahora mismo no es ni mudo ni fuera ni dentro del campo. Dentro del campo habla más que nadie.
Says Fabregas always says they couldn't get a word out of him.
He's a young boy here that's come from Argentina to going into Spain, you know, to literally be brought up in a completely different environment, and it can affect you. It can't have been easy for him.
Despite his shyness, it would only be a matter of time before Rek'Sach's initial instinct about Messi would be proven to be correct.
The expression that's used here is that he vaulted the team.
Messi's promise was now beyond dispute, and it was only a matter of time before Barca offered him a professional contract.
Sí, bueno, hace unas semanas atrás me llamaron y me dijeron que me iban a hacer profesional y que tenía que firmar. Y la verdad que una alegría enorme.
But not all were convinced of Messi's ability.
I had lunch with Rijkaard. I told him, like, I saw that boy Messi, but he didn't really impress me. But I think you saw the qualities, some flashy, but he needs to play a little bit more like this. I said, I was discussing that with Frank, and Frank told me, like, his instincts are incredible. He said, because I saw that in the training, and he can do things that nobody can. He said to me. So we mustn't put too much things in his mind. Just let him go. I must say, Frank saw it quite well, I must say.
Fue él quien me dio la oportunidad de debutar con Barcelona, que me dio su confianza cuando yo tenía 16, 17 años, el quien apostó por mí, que me dio todo, y creo que gracias a él conseguí todo lo que conseguí. Estoy muy agradecido por eso.
And young Leo was quick to show the Dutchman his gratitude.
When he's made his scoring debut, it was here at the Camp Nou. It was against a team called Albacete. There was no time left when he was brought on as a substitute, perhaps about 3 minutes. Instantly made an impact, made a chance, and Ronaldinho, the guy who ruled, the world player of the year, just an extraordinary talent, already knew Messi was a genius. And instead of hogging the ball, gave it to him with a lovely pass, first touch, Messi volleys it over the keeper, goal. The linesman puts up the flag completely wrongly and rules out this gorgeous debut goal. What did it take him? About another 90 seconds when Ronaldinho picks the ball up again, flicks it to him, and in the identical position, Leo Messi, fully onside this time, chips the keeper again, and the stadium goes absolutely wild.
It was amazing because he was 17, and the degree of maturity that he shown on touching the ball, you know, above the goalkeeper once, no? First, it was offside. But then secondly, he did it again. It was amazing, no? This means amazing quality, you know, on his feet, but also amazing character, no? And self-confidence.
Messi began to make an impact domestically and scored his first Champions League goal against Panathinaikos. Then when Barcelona were drawn against Chelsea in the Champions League in 2006, the British public would get its first opportunity to see this special talent in action.
Messi helped run the game. Ronaldinho was in his pomp. Eto'o scored a great goal. But if you look at the youth and still the physical slightness of that boy, this was an announcement that an enormous footballer was born on the world stage. It happened to be in Britain. It was a huge introduction to British fans about Leo Messi's talent. But it wasn't just opening the curtain and saying, here's a potential star. That was him stamping on the floor of the stage and saying, get ready, this is my territory now.
Can Messi torment and tease Chelsea as he did a fortnight ago?
Messi's influence in the return leg was cut short, however. He came off injured after just 25 minutes.
Well, this doesn't look too good for Lionel Messi. Well, so much was said about Messi after the first game, and he's going to play very little part in this second game.
Barca would get the better of Chelsea and eventually progress to the Champions League final against Arsenal. Messi faced a race against time to be fit.
Hola, soy Lionel Messi, juego para este Barcelona que se prepara para la gran final.
Messi is out for months but makes it back, is fit and is in full training ahead of Paris.
Jugar la final, siempre jugar la final es lindo, más en esta competición que después del Mundial creo que una de las más lindas o o si no la más linda de todos los torneos que hay. Sería algo muy bueno jugar y poder ganar, obviamente.
Trains on the Sunday at the Camp Nou, flies with the squad, trains on the Monday in Paris, trains on the Tuesday in Paris, and he thinks he's in the team. He doesn't make the squad.
Hoy en día me doy cuenta de que esa final tendría que haber disfrutado mucho más de lo que lo disfruté por el momento que fue, que creo que hay muchos jugadores que no tienen la oportunidad de poder ganar la Champions. Yo estaba ahí, es algo muy especial.
Barcelona are back on top of European football and they may just take some shifting.
At the end of the game, he's told by all the non-playing subs and the team to come down and celebrate on the pitch with the cup. He refuses, doesn't want to touch the cup, doesn't want to join in. Messi was devastated.
I was with him at night and he felt that he had the space in the lineup and he couldn't make it, and the inability to be with the teammates now winning that championship maybe gave him a bitter taste.
Messi missed out on the Champions League party in Paris, but the 2006 World Cup was the perfect stage for him to bounce back. He would score what is still his only goal in a World Cup, and his impressive performances would see calls for him to be involved in games from the start.
I want to see Messi, but Peckerman don't think the same.
Manager Jose Peckerman wouldn't hear any of it, and against Germany in the quarter-final, he decided against bringing Messi on at all, whilst the team were leading.
Argentina now have used up all three of their substitutes. They haven't used Messi.
Peckerman made a very bad decision, decided not to use Messi in a game where his talents would have stretched the game, made the Germans play deeper.
And that's falling by Borowski.
Germany would equalise and force the game to a shootout. And we all know what happens when Germany and penalties are involved.
Cambiasso must score. Lionel has carried Germany through.
The next season, Messi would show his country exactly what they were missing out on with a virtuoso display against rivals Real Madrid.
Somehow that night, Messi went, "This is my moment."
Ronaldinho leads the charge. Eto, Ronaldinho, stopped by Casillas, blasted in by Messi! That's what Lionel Messi has in mind. Messi takes everybody on. Messi has got it!
It was a Clasico. It saved the honour of Barcelona. He scored the first hat-trick for Barcelona against Real Madrid since Romario some 15 years previously. It was an extraordinary night.
This is the game that is going to be remembered as the Lionel Messi match. 19 years of age, he gets a hat-trick. They compared him to Diego Maradona, as they do many Argentinians when they come over here. But he is living up to that billing.
The hype surrounding this mesmeric talent wasn't a new thing for Messi to deal with. Since his childhood, he was well used to comparisons with the great Diego Maradona.
Que era un orgullo para mí escuchar eso, pero que creía que yo recién comenzaba, que digo hay uno solo, no va a haber otro. Y yo intento hacer mi camino y de seguir creciendo con mi gente.
And just when he thought those comparisons may have subsided, this.
Messi consigue recoger Paredes, aguantando con el balón, algo también de Nacho. Messi, llega hasta Messi, continúa con el balón del área, el recorte, la pelota se va a perder fuera. ¡Golazo de Messi!
To see how similar the two incidents are is remarkable, really.
On the halfway line, when he picks it up, that acceleration from nothing to over 10 yards, blitzes him away from people. Quick drop of the shoulder, you know, he's gone. You can't catch him.
You know, the streets, I'm sure, have been full of kids trying to beat players and pretending to be Diego, and I'm sure Messi was no different.
Those two moments are incredible. Those two guys that are so similar in so many ways, to to replicate two situations, it's weird.
When he was able to ally moments like that with his tremendous consistency otherwise, I think that really is what when you enter the conversation as being the best player in the world.
Messi was at it again only months later with his version of Maradona's hand of God.
Messi's been compared to Maradona since he was about 10. The fact that he scored with his hand against Espanyol was a bad moment. I think he'd like to rub it off his career totally.
The next season, many clubs on the continent would be well aware of the damage that Messi had caused.
We'd been warned by the scouts and looked at things and thought, yeah, the kid's a bit special. But then I realised there's things you really cannot do nothing about. When somebody that has ability goes and takes 2 or 3 people and scores wonderful goals, from being 1-0 up and feeling quite good about ourselves, this guy comes along and scores 2 goals.
But Messi's injury issues would rear their ugly head again, the final straw being when he came off crying in Barcelona's return leg against Celtic in 2008.
I wasn't in tears, I can assure you, because he did it in front of me and he ran by a couple of players and pulled his hamstring just in front of me, and I really shouldn't be thinking that way, but I thought, thank goodness for that. We can relax just a bit, because whoever they're bringing on now is not as good as this guy. I don't care who's coming on, he's not as good as him.
Back in Barca, Messi's latest injury setback didn't come as a surprise.
In the background, what he didn't know, what we didn't know, was that a committee comprising Chiqui Beguirstein, the football director, Mark Ingler and Ferran Soriano, the 2 vice presidents, had already identified the problem and actively went to the solutions.
The problem is that we never got him stabilized, in terms of physics, always recurring injuries on the muscles. We took a kind of a holistic approach to his performance, so really tracking his sleep hours. He was taking individualized stretching plan and restrength plan for him. He had to do it every day with lots of discipline. So all that was a very integrative plan to yield his maximum performance.
After the break.
Well, my friend, I haven't seen many players do that.
It's just genius.
When you talk about Messi,
I want to see how you can.
In 2008, Guardiola was appointed Barcelona manager, replacing Frank Rijkaard after the Dutchman failed to win La Liga. Early on in his tenure, he had a crucial decision to make.
One of the key moments in the entire development of this Barcelona era and the life of Leo Messi came when he was desperate to play in the Olympics, and Barcelona as a club said no.
Barca would have to go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport to resolve the issue with the Argentinian FA. They won the legal battle. Guardiola, who had only just been promoted from his role as Barca's B coach, was adamant that Messi should be allowed to go to the games after he himself had claimed gold at the '92 Olympics for Spain.
El que sí estaba y fue la decisión de él en dejarme ir. Para mí fue importante después de todo lo que se había hablado, si iba y si no, tanto acá como en Argentina.
Guardiola certainly backed him in that, even though obviously it meant losing a crucial player, and losing a crucial player at a time when they had to go through Champions League qualifying.
What could have gone wrong? They could have been eliminated from the Champions League qualifier. Messi could have come back with an injury. Guardiola could have earned an enemy in the president.
The gamble paid off. Barcelona qualified for the Champions League, and Messi returned to Barcelona with the gold medal.
Siempre me dice Guardiola, ¿no?, que yo no le tengo que dar las gracias por eso. Fue una decisión de él que creía que era lo mejor para mí.
Guardiola won all his bets. He won a new friend in Messi. He showed the club that while he was their appointment, he was also the boss now.
And Guardiola had already made the decision that the great Ronaldinho was surplus to requirements at Barca. Messi was to be his heir apparent.
Remember that we had a team where we had already Iniesta, Xavi, Messi, plus Deco, plus Ronaldinho. But maybe Ronaldinho and Deco were not at their best, and maybe their influence on Leo's, career development, he wasn't the best. And we took a bold decision in that season that was trying to get rid of Ronaldinho and Deco. And together with that, there was the decision to give him the number 10 to live. And I believe that gave him even more stance to this potential performance.
Guardiola's new look Barcelona, with Messi as its focal point in attack, would become almost unplayable. The team advanced through to a Champions League semi-final against Chelsea, and after the first leg finished goalless at the Nou Camp, Chelsea looked to have worked out how to stop Barcelona and Messi. Until then, this happened.
Messi closed down, Iniesta, heartbreaker! What a time to win a semi-final!
Messi, who else, on hand with the assist deep into injury time, Barcelona's only shot on goal.
Barcelona Champions League finalists again!
And with the domestic double secured, a historic treble was in sight. So to Rome, where Manchester United lay in wait in the 2009 Champions League final. All the talk was of Messi versus Ronaldo, the two players considered to be the best on the planet.
Definitely the top player in the world at the moment, there's no question about that. Those two at the moment have a fantastic season.
They are awesome, both of them. Okay, I think Alex Ferguson prefer Ronaldo. We prefer them.
To put them on the same menu in a final is quite interesting.
And what more fitting stage to settle the debate? For Messi, though, it was just another day.
No, la verdad que hasta el partido, igual que siempre, fue un día como cualquier otro, como lo vivimos siempre. Estábamos muy tranquilos, muy confiados en nosotros mismos.
It is the best in England, this is the best in Spain.
If you go back to Rome, that hot night in the Olympic Stadium, when they played Manchester United, I think it's fair that most people in England had United as favourites.
Iniesta just quickening the pace, feeds Eto'o. He's got into a good scoring position, and it's Barcelona who strike first.
Manchester United were still in the game, and what happened was something that put to bed this mythological thing that I saw a lot of British journalists writing. He's never scored against an English team.
Turned away by Giggs, one captain denying another. Only as far as Xavi. In towards Messi! Barcelona's golden man has scored a golden goal.
Don't forget the goal he scored against Manchester in the Champions League final. It was a splendid goal. I've seen him score goals volleying a ball, which he shows unbelievable technique. And for one who's so small, he's a fantastic head of the ball.
He's only 5'7", but he soared to connect.
He scored his first goal against the English club to make sure that Barcelona sealed that triumph in the most unlikely way for a little man to do it with a brilliant header.
Barcelona rule in Rome.
What has Lionel Messi proved tonight?
I think he proved he's the best player in the world. We said that before, but no one believed that. But after this, I think that he deserves to be the best player in the world. ¿No?
Sí, fue algo hermoso, ¿no? Siempre es lindo hacer goles y más en esos partidos, en esa final, fue algo impensado, un sueño y bueno, fue hermoso.
And the European Cup is back in Barcelona hands.
Y después fue todo felicidad, mucho festejo, mucha alegría y recuerdo muy lindo.
Barca's treble-winning season would go down in history, and Messi's bond with Guardiola was at the heart of everything they did. Barcelona went on to dominate domestically the next season, and the little Argentine would continue to haunt England's elite, this time with a devastating display against Arsenal in the Nou Camp.
He has three already. It's Messi. He has four.
Jose Mourinho, however, would finally find a way to nullify Messi and co with Inter Milan at the semi-final stage.
Barcelona beaten. Inter Milan will go to Madrid. And Jose Mourinho's moment has come again.
Messi had his revenge on Mourinho the next season, however, as he provided 2 moments of magic in an ill-tempered El Clasico in the Champions League semi-final at the Bernabeu.
Messi! And it's him!
Here's Messi. Away from 2, 3, 4. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
The match against Real Madrid, he has that sense of when is the right time to go and take people out of the game.
We have all played football. We know how difficult it is just to score a goal. But when at that level, you can take the ball in the middle of the park and pass everybody and score. You can say, well done, my friend. I haven't seen many players do that.
It's just genius. You rarely, in any sport, get the opportunity to watch genius.
Barcelona would meet Sir Alex's United once again in the 2011 Champions League final, this time at Wembley. They were being touted as the best club side ever, and once again Messi was on everybody's mind.
We're talking about Messi. I don't. Hopefully, I don't I hope somebody's hearing him.
You've got to realise that they're a talented team, and you've got to try and stop them and stop their key players.
It's not one man job. I think it's down for the whole team to defend right and try and force him into where he is. He doesn't want to be in, so hopefully we can do that.
On their day, they're as good as anyone, but so am I.
Wembley looking at its best for a meeting of the best.
Esperábamos ganar, ¿no? Sabíamos que iba a ser un partido difícil porque conocíamos bien al Manchester, prácticamente no había cambiado mucho a lo que había sido la final anterior que tuvimos con ellos.
And Barca, like in Rome 2 years before, would be the first to strike.
Xavi. Slip through. Chance for Pedro! Breakthrough for Barcelona. It has been coming.
But United were made of sterner stuff than in 2009.
Rooney. Kick towards Giggs, who's onside. And Wayne Rooney! Oh.
Wembley, it was a sublime team performance by Barcelona, but they absolutely knew that United were completely in the match. 1-1.
Messi. Oh, fabulous!
Yo lo comparo con un asesino, digamos, porque tiene el hambre de querer más.
When someone needed to step up to the plate, I didn't think it was ever in doubt that it was going to be him.
Inevitable. The latest in a long line of headline goals.
Regardless of how tight it is, when Messi's on the field, he's always going to come up with a moment of brilliance.
He is a phenomenon.
For top players, there's always a pressure on, can he win the game? This guy does it. Yeah, it's the final. I'll score another goal. So when the big games, he turns up.
David Villa sealed the victory, but Messi once again displayed his ability to produce when it mattered most.
Barcelona are champions of Europe again.
Fue un momento hermoso, igual que en la otra, pero quizás un poquito más por cómo estaba el partido, que estaba 1-1, era el gol que nos daba la ventaja, y creo que eso lo hizo más importante todavía.
Masters of always surveying the new Barcelona dream team.
And Sir Alex was again left scratching his head as to how to stop Barcelona.
The best team you've ever faced? Or not?
Yeah, I think it's the best team we've played, yeah. They're at a tremendous peak in the cycle of the team. Well, beaten is no other way to address the situation.
Messi's recent achievements with Barcelona would coincide with personal awards, culminating in a third successive Ballon d'Or in January.
The winner is Lionel Messi.
His 3 Ballon d'Or have proven he is the player of our generation. But for all the praise he receives on a personal level, humility is perhaps one of his greatest traits.
Dedicar como dije antes a mis compañeros, que sin ellos obviamente yo no estaría acá. No hubiese conseguido ni este ni los dos anteriores. Yo quiero brindar por Xavi y Andrés, que a pesar de que gané el premio yo, ellos lo merecen igual o más que yo.
The great thing about the boy is that his feet are on the ground. He's such a humble man. You recognise that he's a true down-to-earth young boy. And you're pleased for him because of that. He's not changed, and I think that's a wonderful asset to him.
Coming up.
Champions League, why can't you do it in international football?
Best player in the world now, Messi.
Playing like Messi, it comes once in, I don't know, 100 years probably.
Despite everything that Lionel Messi has achieved, he still craves success on the grandest of stages, the World Cup. And with Maradona, the Argentinian coach, going into the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, comparisons between the two were reignited. Although Messi wasn't scoring, Argentina were making their way through the tournament with their charismatic manager taking all the headlines.
It was about, wow, what's Maradona going to do next? You know, what's he going to do? He's bound to come up with something crazy or outlandish before the next match.
I would think he could see elements of himself in Messi and certainly talent-wise and would have wanted that to be nurtured and to flourish. And he would have known that Messi performing at his best would have been his best chance of winning.
That's Messi. But the world's greatest player wouldn't be able to carry his nation to World Cup glory as Maradona's Argentina were finally undone by the Germans.
Maradona faces the end of his dream.
The only question mark you have then is that why does it work so well at Barcelona and why is it not really pulling off at the national team?
He's a fantastic player, and Barcelona has a style of playing which is very, very useful for a player, very good for a player like Messi, because they are controlling the game, they control the ball, and then they can always find players like him. But he's not the one who has to carry everything on his shoulder because he's playing with Iniesta, with Xavi. So it makes it a little easier for him.
When he's playing for Barcelona at that Nou Camp Stadium, I mean, it takes some defenders to stop him. He's impossible to stop. What I would say, I don't think he's done it at international level. You know, if he can do it in the Champions League, why can't he do it in international football? You know, Maradona did win a World Cup. Pele did it. Messi's got to do it at that level for me to get up there with Diego Maradona.
Argentina is such a passionate football country, craves success so much, needs a return of a Maradona era, and is so sick of Brazil winning things that they've treated Messi immaturely, and it makes Messi beside himself with fury that people not that they criticise his performances, that he takes on the chin, that people should suggest he doesn't care about Argentina as much as Barcelona.
No, a lot of times he gets accused of lack of patriotism, lack of understanding Argentina, because, you know, the fact is he's lived in Catalonia almost as long as he lived in Argentina. I certainly don't see that.
He absolutely supports Argentina. He turned down the chance to claim Spanish nationality. He was offered it. The Spanish system wanted to take him in at junior level and make him, as Thiago is, a full Spanish international. He said no.
When he plays for Argentina, he gives just as much as he gives when he plays for Barcelona. If there's a difference, it's in terms of performance. It's certainly not in terms of effort.
He's the captain, he's their best player, and he's as committed to Argentina as Maradona ever was.
There's obviously a lot of expectations, but maybe at Argentina they're just expecting him to win the World Cup, and you can't do it on your own.
One thing with the South American players, they're very patriotic, so it means a lot to him. I'm sure he's desperate for it to happen on a national level.
There would be a perception of fans, well, he doesn't care about us as much as he cares about playing for Barcelona. Now, I don't imagine that's true for 1 minute. I think with Argentina there's perhaps been too much pressure on his shoulders, or the structure around him hasn't been able to bring the best out of him. Teams that play Barcelona know if they mark Messi, they've still got 4 or 5 others that can go and win the game.
He must know that that's the one thing that so far as it eludes him, and is the one ingredient he needs to add, because then he does have the full set.
Perhaps Brazil 2014, with it being on their home continent, is an opportunity for them to do that, but I don't think it will be for a lack of desire. I just think the team and what's around him hasn't been quite good enough to provide him with that platform to go and play.
I'm not saying Argentina's going to win the World Cup in 2014 in Brazil. I'm not saying that, but it wouldn't be the saddest event either, I don't think, if we saw Messi picking up the trophy. Because I do think that would then, with all his stats, with all his games, with all his goals, I think that puts him on top of the pile.
Although Messi's achievements have fallen short of World Cup glory, his club career has been unparalleled and his status in the game undeniable.
Best player in the world now, Messi. Messi is so genius, so quick, and he score a lot.
On rabâchera tous de toute façon les mêmes paroles. Je pense qu'il n'y a qu'à voir, il n'y a qu'à profiter du spectacle qu'il est en train de donner chaque match et chaque week-end avec Barcelone. Il arrive très souvent à faire la différence, et peut-être sa particularité, c'est que c'est un joueur qui joue toujours de l'avant, c'est-à-dire qu'il ne fait jamais passe en entrée, il ne fait jamais passe latéral. Quand il prend le ballon, il a tout sur lui.
Any generation will have one, and at the moment, Messi is the best. Eu acho que é atualmente o melhor jogador do mundo, é jogador impressionante em todos os aspectos, e para os apreciadores de futebol é prazer poder vê-lo domingo a domingo.
What makes him exceptional in football, you make choices at the moment when you play, and always choose the right moment. I think that's, of course, what makes a good player, being always the right choice. There's maybe 3 or 4 right choices in a game, but there's only one exceptional choice, and he's always choosing the right one.
Es el número 1 del mundo, ¿no? Yo creo que cuando se habla de jugador individual no hay una cuestión en este. Leo es el número 1 y se lo merece, ¿no?
When he's got the ball, he's doing everything on the highest speed. It doesn't matter if he scores, he can always give somebody else the opportunity to score.
Il sait où il faut se placer, et puis après on sait très bien que ce soit 1 contre 1, 2 contre 1, 3 contre 1, voilà, c'est un joueur qui ose beaucoup. Il l'a déjà démontré pas mal de fois, il a marqué des buts extraordinaires. Là, le problème avec Léo, c'est que personne ne sait ce qu'il va faire, et je crois que c'est ça le problème. Puis après, ça reste un extraterrestre de notre génération. Il est capable de tout, et je crois qu'il l'a déjà démontré malgré son jeune âge.
Where do we start? He can dribble, he can score, he can set people up. The thing he does at Barcelona at times when it doesn't really go the team's way, he's still the one that makes a difference.
Bueno, creo que el día de mañana muchos de nosotros vamos a poder tener la suerte de decir: jugamos con Messi, estuvimos en la etapa de Messi, como muchos en mi país hace 20 años o 30 años decían lo mismo de Maradona, ¿no?
Maradona a fait ce qui était de meilleur à son époque. Et Léo Messi fait ce qu'il y a de meilleur à d'autres époques. Maintenant, c'est vrai qu'il y a énormément de ressemblances parce que les deux sont argentins. Les deux sont de petite taille et tactiquement, les deux ont été... Enfin, Léo est super fort et Maradona l'a été. Donc voilà, je crois que Léo, ça reste Léo et Maradona, ça reste Maradona.
La pregunta es que nunca sabes el techo que va a tener Leo, ¿no? Pero conociéndole, la verdad es que estará muchísimos años más en la élite futbolística. La verdad es que es un placer tenerlo en el equipo, ¿no? Es ahora mismo para mí el mejor futbolista del mundo.
Who's the best player in the world?
Lionel Messi.
Who's the best player of all time?
Lionel Messi.
Sin lugar a dudas que ya es el mejor de la historia, yo creo, sinceramente, a pesar de que, bueno, de que tiene que seguir una trayectoria, una carrera, quedan muchos años, pero lo que ha demostrado él, el nivel no lo había visto jamás con nadie. Sí, es verdad que, bueno, que yo tengo 24 años, tampoco he visto jugar a Pelé y muy poco a Maradona, por no decir nada, pero ahora mismo Leo está un escalón por encima.
To actually compare him to the greatest of all time, I think that's fair. You know, I'm talking about Maradona, I'm also talking about Pelé, but I can't differentiate between the three. Certainly Messi is right up there, and of course what's in his favour, very much on his side, is the fact that he's still so very young. You know, he's not going to deteriorate, he's going to get better and better.
All the evidence is really stacking up all the time. The boy is only 24 and he's not reached his full potential. When he gets to 27, who knows what he's going to be like?
What he already achieved now in this small time is amazing. Playing like Messi comes once in, I don't know, 100 years probably.
He can score goals, he can assist, he can destabilize the defense on his own. He can run the ball at 100 miles an hour and change direction. That's not very easy. Try to do it, come back to me and tell me how you did.
So, what remains for this phenomenal player still to achieve? There have been legends of the game before him, and others will doubtless follow. But for now, quite simply, has there ever been anyone better?